You and I have some very powerful angels, and I don't know if we share the same ones or if we just happen to be walking a very similar path and they're teaming up, but their energy feels comforting. And I think right now you are in some desperate need of comfort because I feel that too. And the feeling has been confusing for me, and I can tell it has been confusing for you because we have been doing hard work. You have been stepping into a version of yourself that I don't think you ever thought possible. I think you dreamt of this, but you didn't feel like it was something that was ever actually going to be achievable because the way the old version of you was living would never, ever be able to be or exist in this timeline that you're in now. So, first and foremost, your angels want you to know that you are doing everything right. You are exactly where you need to be. And I know that might be frustrating to hear because you might be at a place that you don't want to be in, or a place that you have felt like you've been stuck to for a long time. And you're feeling that need for change. You're feeling that restlessness. And that restlessness is there for a reason because you are right. You've been at this place for a while now and you're ready for the next step. But Source wants you to know that you and I still have things that we are working through and integrating. And a lot of those things aren't things that we are even consciously aware that are happening. They're like, how we only use like 10% of our brain. A lot of that is happening in that 90%, in that deep subconscious that most of us never even travel to. And honestly, we have only really skimmed the surface of it. But a lot of what is happening right now is work that you're not even consciously aware that you're doing. It's just old programming, old pathways that are finding bridges that are beginning to exist in a world where they didn't. And one of the things that happens as our old programming and wiring begins to dismantle itself so that it can build itself back up again is that we feel this loneliness and apathy. That can be a really confusing feeling because we equate doing the work and reconnecting with ourselves with this feeling of enlightenment and positivity and good vibes. And yes, those do exist, they are there. But it also makes space for the sadness that you have been carrying around for a long time, that you have also been suppressing for it to come to the surface. It's almost like you're relearning how to take care of yourself and how to handle things that in the past you would not have been able to. Would have been like speaking a different language. But now you're able to. So it's like those versions of ourselves that we pushed down and hoped that they would never come back up again are now feeling safe enough to resurface because they will be met with a version of you that didn't exist back then. And the version that they're being met with now is one that has compassion. And that is the main thing that Source wants you to carry in this part of the journey: compassion. Because there are going to be a lot of, I just felt so much wind coming in. There are going to be some really heavy things that come to the surface that you unfortunately have to work through to get to this next level. You can't bypass them anymore because you're getting to the point that they're just going to keep resurfacing because it's not a weight that you are meant to carry. It served its purpose for that part of its life, and you're probably like, what do you mean served its purpose? But it did. It was part of your story. But now we need to meet that shame and sadness that we have been carrying around. We need to meet it with compassion so that it doesn't continue to be a core part of our self, and so that it doesn't continue to be this burden that we carry around. And one of the things about all of this is that as we're dealing with this and we begin to nurture ourselves, we begin to do the work of facing those monsters and shadows that live within us, we begin to experience safety and peace because we're finally taking care of ourselves. We're finally recognizing patterns that we would have been drawn to in the past, and we're able to soothe and take care of ourselves in a way that we weren't before. So, as we get to this point where we have peace, it also makes the space where chaos and anxiety and pain and addiction and old patterns where they used to live, it begins to shine a light in that area. I don't even know if what I'm saying is making like it begins to shine a light in that area, and it makes you realize that those things that in the past was your normal not being there makes your current reality just feel empty, because whether we want to admit it or not, those things that brought us a lot of pain and a lot of harm were the things that we were drawn to, whether we want to admit it or not. They were the things that gave us that hit of dopamine. They were the thing that like spiked our cortisol and our anxiety, but like we kept going back to it. And when we no longer have that in our lives, that excitement, whether we want to admit it was exciting or not, it can feel really empty. It can feel really lonely. So peace doesn't feel like peace in the beginning. It just feels depressing because it's something that you've never had, something that you've never encountered. And it kind of forces you to actually spend time with yourself. And when you're not used to doing that, that can feel just lonely. I know it has, at least for me. And that's not to say that we don't enjoy our alone time, but it's like you're actually kind of forced to sit with yourself. And that can be both a really beautiful thing and a terrifying one. I know for me, it's a lot of both. So, even as I'm like working through this myself, it's hard and it's confusing. So, really, the main thing your angels want me to relay and get across to you is that you're really not doing anything wrong. You are doing work that most people never do, and that's why you have no one to talk to about this. And if you do have someone to talk to about this, like we're doing now, it can still feel isolating because you are realizing that, well, yes, connection with others is important. If you don't have that connection with yourself, first and foremost, things are never going to work. The connections that you do find in others are going to fall apart because there's no solid foundation. How can you have a relationship with somebody else if you don't even have one with yourself? And that's something that I struggled with for a really long time. I would rather invest into my connections with other people than even think about the connection that I had with myself. And as I begin to have a connection with myself, I begin to have emotions and feelings towards myself and see myself differently. And some days that was really good, and then other days it was really dark. But you need to know that this new version of you requires kindness, requires compassion, and also requires for you to keep going. You can't give up now. You've gone so fucking far. So far. And while it feels like the work you're doing is in vain or what's the point, there is a point. And the point is that you matter. You matter enough to pour into yourself. You matter enough to care and love for yourself. And even if no one ever did that for you, or the ones that did do it for you did it in a conditional kind of way, that doesn't mean that you don't deserve it. And I can relate to the feeling of what is the point of putting love into myself if no one else has ever wanted to. But if anything, that should be our inspiration and encouragement to pour into ourselves more than ever, because we deserve that. And to think that we spent most of our lives thinking that we didn't because of the way other people treated us is a real damn shame. But that is done now, because you can never go back to the old way. And I know sometimes it feels like you're slipping backwards. And I know some days it feels like the work that you have done was like undone in one day or because of one interaction or one trigger. But I want you to know it's not. Anything that comes up during this is just a continuation of a lesson. And that lesson is now happening to show you how differently you deal with things now than you would have in the past. So give yourself a pat in the back, because growing and evolving and transforming doesn't mean that things stop triggering you or things stop drawing you in. Anything, it means that you still feel those things, but you have the self-control to not deal with them how you would have in the past. And that is a very powerful gift to have gained, because most people, as you know, are quick to anger, quick to react, and to get to the point where you're able to be like, yeah, you suck, but I'm not gonna react to that like that, is incredible work. Like, big work. Things don't always have to be grand and don't always have to be like in your face. Those little moments of choosing differently for yourself are what it is all about. So I was gonna draw some cards, but no, they're like draw the cards. Okay. I'm just gonna ask for some advice going forward, but I hope this makes sense, because sometimes I feel like the messages and what I'm feeling get so jumbled up as I try to speak them. But if you're still here, I have a feeling that that resonated. So thank you for being here. This has been a lonely journey for me, but knowing that you're there and that you're going through it too, it really does help. And I hope this helps too, because we found each other for a reason. And our angels are definitely like, they're tight. All right, let's see. What advice going forward? Let's go with this guy. The Six of Cups. Okay. I also got the Five of Swords and the Five of Wands. Okay. I know that it feels challenging. I know that you feel like an imposter at times. I know that stepping into this version of you feels heavy at times. And I want you to know that if the people in your life are giving you any kind of pushback, are questioning this, or just giving you any kind of hard time, Source and your angels want you to know that that is not someone that deserves to be in your life or that needs to be in your life. Right now, your main priority needs to be the Six of Cups. It needs to be how you take care of yourself and making sure that the people that you have in your life are a safe space, a kind space, a loving space. And if you don't have that in your life right now, I know that that makes this feel even heavier and harder. You must keep going. And you need to trust that the people that deserve to be in your life are making their way to you. So if you feel like you don't have a family, you need a soul tribe, you need friends, you need compassion, you need human touch, Source wants to give that to you. Oh, the wind just came in. But you need to also put yourself out there. I know that you are like a little hermit crab in its shell because the world has been really tough and really hard. But you need to be brave enough. And that doesn't mean that there's no fear. Brave means that there's fear, but we do it anyways. So you have to push through the fear and put yourself out there. Connection is a big component of this chapter right now. So we need to find it. We need to find connection with ourselves first. And then second, we need to be able to have either just somebody or a group that we feel held and nurtured by. So when your thoughts get heavy, Source doesn't want you to keep that internalized anymore. And I know you have someone in your life that you can turn to. And if you don't, you have me. I'm always here. But you need to you need to be brave enough to ask for the help. It's not, this is a journey that is meant to be done alone. Yes, no one can do the spiritual work for you, but you can't be alone the whole time. That defeats the whole point of being a human on this earth, because this world needs connection right now. And you are an important piece of the puzzle. Without you, we are fragmented and broken. So, the main thing right now going forward that Source is really encouraging you to open your mind to and pursue is connection, however that looks like for you. But it's important right now for you and I to build a community, to have a safe space, because we cannot continue to keep this internalized. It's at a point now where the work that we are doing deserves to be shared with somebody, and we are now capable of giving love and receiving love that we weren't able to receive or give before. And Source doesn't want us to wait on that anymore. We have to do the work, we have to move forward. So, you are so incredibly loved. Please be gentle with yourself. It was just a new moon the other night, yesterday actually. So, this is a wonderful time to plant some seeds of intention. And then, over the next few weeks, as we lead up to the full moon, take action and put your energy into making those seeds blossom. Sometimes we think that when we make intentions, we put them out there, they just happen. And yeah, sometimes they do, because unwillingly you had been doing the work to get to the point where that could align. But sometimes those intentions take also us meeting the universe halfway and doing our side of the work. So, whatever that is for you, you know what it is. It's going to look differently for you and I, but the main thing is connection. So, you are so, so loved. I am so glad that you're here. Doing this for me is not easy. I don't like speaking in front of a camera, but like a year and a half ago, I felt so called, like I couldn't ignore it. I had to do this. So it's terrifying for me to do this every time I do it, but I do it anyways. So Source is saying, like, take some of that, whatever it is, because I know there's something in your life that you're scared to do. Please do it. The worst thing that happens is it doesn't work out the way you thought it would. And then, one, you get feedback on it. And two, you're like, okay, let me try something else now. Like, for me, I'm terrified every time I do this. And I'm like, worst case scenario, you get no comments and no likes, which happens a lot of the time. But I still do it. Even though I don't like that that's the outcome, I wish it was different. I still do it because I'm doing it now because it's something that I enjoy doing. So keep doing the work. You are so loved. I am so with you. And if this resonated or you have anything that you want to talk about, I am always here. My name is Natalie. I will see you so, so soon.